Court Case Practice, Brendan Carl Arnold. I'm standing here with transparency, truth, and honesty. When I first met this individual, I was 19 in Korea, which this individual's career miserably failed in Royal Caribbean by his sex addiction and alcoholism, which he fucked 300 people plus passengers on the ship, which is illegal, in which he takes pride in such behaviors, tells all of his friends about it. That when I first met him, I actually walked away, somehow gotten into dating systems within him, unfortunately. After 2 years, we moved to Hawaii, but there had been a lot of pressures because I couldn't work due to visa processes for about 2 years, and we moved into his friends' place, which they were alcoholic and party addicts, playing loud music every day and letting the dogs poop in their lanai. It was some very maniac situations in which he also gave much pressure onto me. So in prior to third year, I tried to escape from him, took his money to buy a plane ticket and tried to go back to Korea. It failed, which Brendan Carl Arnold, as soon as I decided to have distance from this individual, he's now taking that event as I've been stealing money from him, which will go from before and after of my realizations and how he behaved from that point. So if we come back to present moment, 3 years ago, I started to change my life by dedicating myself to music and the true passion that I've always had, in which at the time, Brendan Arnold backstabbed me, in a way acted very erratically, and just some things that didn't really make any sense. So I moved to New York City just to get away from this individual. And also another thing had happened at the same time, in which I'm looking forward to file another lawsuit for those individuals. But from that moment, I haven't spoke to him, in which he was happy about it. Later on, he reached out to me. So prior to 2 months ago, while I was in New York City, stayed in the homeless shelter for like 1 year after I got illegally evicted. And I also made 10 albums during the homeless shelter stay, and released that 5,000 short videos and the narrations and all the other channel things that I've done. Prior to 2 months ago, he reached out to me, and I also shared that I was having some suicidal moments. The environment was not healthy, and it was just quite a bit of struggle, which I posted one day on my TikTok that I try to hang myself and just, end my life. Brendan Arnold, in his claim that because I posted that online, he can surely tell all of his friends and family that I'm suicidal, and in which he's taking that as such a stories of this suicidal mental illness individual who somehow came into his place, taking advantage of his finances and all sorts of weird things, which I'm going to explain from this moment. So 2 months ago, he offered me to come to his place voluntarily. He said he admires my work. He wished me to have better environment for me to stay. And he kind of knew that how much YouTube was being built, how much content was out there, and he saw the opportunity that he could gain benefit from. Otherwise, he wouldn't have voluntarily offered it, because his behavior proves it. That when I first came to his place, he said that he's been getting unemployment check. For 7 months, he's been getting $23,000, in which, in the present moment, he left out with $33 because he's been buying all the premium stuff, smoking weed, doing nothing, period. Scrolling phone day and night. After the night, he turns off his light and scrolls. When he wakes up, he scrolls. That's his 24/7 schedule. He expresses, "The world is falling. What's the point of doing anything? Nothing ever worked out. I tried this and that," which he uploaded like 50 videos of something less than. That's not even trying in this YouTube businesses and TikTok businesses, whatever the video, that content creation. He, in which, takes credits, which I'm going to explain it in the future. So, he expresses that he's pessimistic. He chose to take a break from the world, give himself a rest. And at the same time, he's been doing nothing. He claims it. He said to me. So I gave him much reasons to do something, and kind of explaining to him how dangerous it is to be cynical and pessimistic at this moment of time, especially when everything is falling apart. The old system is crumbling in between, and the new system will arise in due times. I explained to him about it, and many reasons to live, to follow passions, and there's effortless ways to manifest our true desires. There's effortless ways to fulfill who we truly are and express our ways, in which it started off lightly. Later on, I even gave him a tarot card readings. Somehow, the reading, when it came out, he didn't like it. Perhaps he started to saying that he taken things as I'm being judgmental to him and I'm criticizing him, which I constantly reminded of him that it is not the case. And one day, this is the moment when I realized that all of his dealings are not from me and it's not relevant with me. It's just this point when he says, "You haven't left the house for 5 days. You're not taking care of your health. It started off that way." And when I heard it, I was like, okay, I guess he is perceiving something that he do not know just yet. Maybe if I explain it to him that I'm actually taking care of my health, getting the sunlight that I need to get, I'm minding my own businesses, working hard. The reason why I haven't left the house for 5 days is because I was just editing, working on my own businesses. I guess he's pursuing something that is just not true. I explained to him, "Hey, thank you for your consideration. I appreciate it. As a friend, I guess you are just seeing something that I may have not seen it. But the truth of it all is that I'm taking care of my health, and I'm exercising, and the reason why I haven't left the house is just because I'm really focused on my work." He began to, the moment when you say the word to the individual, he did not listen to any of the words, but was in this emotional state. He was just not having it somehow. I didn't understand what it was. It just didn't make any sense. Why was he so upset from the first place? Why is he felt so rejected by the fact that I'm actually taking care of my health and actually working like not wasting a second to build my business so I can go out, get out of this his place, which he invited me, which I'm so grateful for it. But because I don't want to stay there too long, that he have to, take care of certain things, like I was just doing my best. But he himself seems like he was having it. So the next day in the morning, I went to him again, like, hey there, I know it may emotionally burden me somehow. Hey there, thank you for your consideration. I just wanted to communicate with you that I know last night you didn't feel great, even after I gave you the explanation and the truth and how I'm doing. So I just wanted to check on you. You know what I mean? Like, I approached him with the friendliest, the kindest approach that I could ever get, that I could ever give. He was flipped off. I kind of like checked on him, like, because before he was very obsessed with like having his own space, some sort. It was like a long before when I was like stayed with him in a short period of time after I actually needed a place to go before New York time. So I was like, if you need a space, some time for yourself, please let me know. And he's like flipped off. He was like angry. He was all over the place, aggressive, emotionally like eruptive. That's the point I realized, oh, okay, this is something that really is not relevant with me. This is something that he has some weird thing going on. It was completely nonsensical for an individual to get so angry, like a maniac. Like, you think it was just like out of the place. So that's the moment when I gave the distances through silence. Except I didn't completely ignore him in the beginning. Except, answering some things like yes or no. Like, do you need groceries, or do you wanna, like, it's a simple question and things, right? Except when he tried to say some things like you're being judgmental, or like, I don't even remember how he started off, but he began to accuse me to the extent that he started to, because I didn't talk to him, I gave him a distance, he started to like, first he began to take off the coffee machine away. He threw the coffee away because I was drinking it. He do not ever use the coffee machine, and it isn't even his. He received it from the neighbor who just left that apartment, and he don't even use it. He had a coffee, but because I was drinking it, he threw that coffee away. He took that coffee machine away. He says, for him, it's like, you're not cooperating with me. You are ignoring me. You are disrespecting me. Something along the line, you're in my environment, and blah blah blah. It just kept on and on and on. Like, I didn't mind it. I wasn't sure how serious he was. He was very aggressive with all of the things that I did, including opening the blinder because it was hot summertime. Like, he pulled up some reasons that don't even make sense, that he don't want to see any neighbors to see inside of the house. But the blind was open around like 2 a.m. Nobody was walking there. He began to be physically aggressive and emotionally manipulating over every little single thing. He goes like, I'm paying this water bill, this is my yoga mat, I'm paying this food. Actually, around the time when I started to having distance from him, he actually began to say, I'm not gonna give you any food, I'm not gonna give you any coffee because you're not cooperating with me. Some way, like maybe he needed some validation or something. I cannot even comprehend. Like until I went to grab my food stamp because he was acting like crazy from the moment. And the food stamp employee said to me that as a green card support sponsor, as he is, he brought me to the US. If he don't, because I needed his like agreement or like some signature for me to get a food stamp. If the green card sponsor do not support you any shelter or food, it's actually illegal because they actually have the responsibility legally. Which I didn't know. So if I didn't say to him, he actually told me like, I'm not gonna give you any food, I'm not gonna support any food, I'm not gonna give you any coffee or none of this, you're not cooperating with me, you're disrespecting me, all sorts of things. If I didn't say that as a green card sponsor, you are supposed to give a shelter and the basic necessary in a way, he would have done it. And I demanded nothing and said nothing throughout all of these processes. So the more I gave him distances, his manipulation, control became more extreme. It happened all in under a month. He began to say, you're almost 30, you're homeless, you're stealing money from me, you're stealing things from me, in which stealing things, he says, he had this like a psychedelic mushrooms, which he told me three or four times, like, please let me know whenever you want this, it's yours, and I would, please let me know. Like he repeatedly said to me. So one morning, I was working until like 4 a.m. I was just really tired. So when you are in that like a tired state, if you just chew on a bit, like microdosing that mushroom, you kind of can reset your stamina. So I actually like took a bite, just a little microdose, without asking him. But it was after him repeatedly letting me know, weird, why he's even like repeatedly saying like, please let me know whenever you want the mushroom, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, I took a microdose and he's like, he figured out later. And he told me, oh, did you take a bite of mushroom? I said, oh yeah, I did. He's like, oh, cool, it was yours anyways. But as soon as I gave him a distance, he began to say, pick that up as like, you are stealing things from me. And he is like saying all sorts of things to break my will, my self-esteem, my sense of self, by like, you're dirty, you cannot even keep a job, which is not even true. I was a cafe manager within one franchise and one private, and also assistant manager in a franchise that we all know about. He was actually right next to me while I was working there. But he's saying like, you cannot keep a job. You are like, he said worst thing as possible. I said nothing. I actually did the audio recording, which I provided it. And he also told me that he had been telling his friends and family that I'm suicidal and I'm also manipulating him. Somehow, right? He invited me to come to his place for the first place. And as a person who are actually so grateful for the generosity that he provided, like, why would I cause any conflict? First. And second, what's the point for me? What do I gain from causing you any trouble. It's just nonsensical. And what kind of manipulation are you talking about? He says like, I asked ChatGPT, this is a financial abuse. Says the person who offered me to come to his place, in which he had a hidden agenda to get benefit out of the business that I once built, as he's been manipulating through all sorts of things that he can say out of false characterization, that he's saying like, I'm not taking care of myself, to the person who made 10 albums throughout 1 year of homeless shelter. While I was in the homeless shelter, made at least $5,000 plus videos, like says to that person that he's not taking care of himself. This is just like craziness, maniac. And he's like, I don't want to do this to you, but I can do so many things to you. You are self-sabotaging yourself. I can cut off your phone, in which he cut off his phone. The way he cut off his phone is just that. One day I was in the kitchen, I was cooking, he came in, I walked away so he can grab his phone, grab his stuff. This is after the period when I gave him a distance through silence so that I can protect myself. I explained to him many times, he never listened to it. He sees me that I walked away, asked me, are you okay? I didn't respond. And then he walked back and he cut my phone off and says, this is the consequences that you get, that I'm gonna create for you because you are not cooperating with me. You are in my space. I'm controlling my environment, not you, but I'm controlling my environment and my things. As an adult, if this individual expressed that I actually need to take care of my finances, I'm gonna save up some money, I'm sorry, but I cannot support the phone bills things anymore, I would be like, yes, please do. Throughout this time, while he was paying my phone bills, I explained actually many times, hey, you can actually cut my phone bills. I will just take care of myself. He says, this is unconditional. It's okay. Through this whole time, until he had his hidden agenda, desperately micromanaging, aggressively, like attacking. As soon as I smelled his like sneakiness, just nonsensical behaviors and emotional manipulation, as soon as I gave him distance, this is all happened in under less than a month. Less than a month. By himself, without me doing nothing, saying nothing, demanding nothing. Basically, he literally revealed who he truly was without me doing anything. Which I'm so grateful for it, that it revealed at this moment of time rather than later, because if it came after my monetization, after whatever the thing that I worked comes to the fruition, he will drag this into his favor, guilt trip, and do what sorts everything that he can, because that's always him, victimizing himself. That throughout his career, he's like saying, oh, people are judging me, criticizing me of my weight, blah, blah, blah. Whereas he's the one who's judging the most around himself, criticizing people around himself the most. Also under alcohol and sex addict, it's divine justice that his intelligence goes down to the bottom pit. Sinful individual. That's just the truth. So, from this point, now he's been taking, like, he's like, I'm a good person. I'm not gonna give you any laundry money because I know you're more than capable of doing this for yourself. I'm not I'm not gonna give you any coffee, and if I see you a coffee, I'm probably gonna take my coffee machine away. You have to buy your own utensils. You have to buy your own coffee machine. He said all sorts of things. He said like I have to buy my own fork and spoon, and even the water, even though it's every single little thing he can. And the reason is just because. No other absolute reason whatsoever. He did all of this just because he can. That's the most disturbing part. Just because. Like, imagine you invited a person voluntarily because you saw something to get out of from this person. But because that thing did, your little sneaky plan didn't work out, you desperately attack, micromanage, and like do things to get reaction out of this individual, lie about this individual that he's manipulating you somehow, financially abusing you, and like all sorts of things, and says like you have to get your own utensil, your water, like your yoga mat, your coffee machine, your laundries, in which because of that I do not have my clothes anymore, the clean clothes anymore. He literally created this semi-genociding environment, and it's actually the same repertoire in human psyche. Putin himself is genociding Ukraine and those areas because he cynically victimized himself that the Russia has taken something away from the Soviet Union, whatever that is, and now he takes down, discrediting the Ukraine's existence. At the same time, try to take all of the credit about that nation by trying to like consume, like conquer this region to sake of expanding, because the Russia is a victim of history. In his pessimistic, cynical worldview, same thing. Brandon Arnold, cynical, which he forces others to believe his agenda, which he did it by telling all of his friends and family of false characterization, false identification, false stories, to create this egregore to support his belief and agenda, the cynical agenda, in which the reason why I gave him a distance in silence is because whatever words that I spoke, in how much effort I've given him, it didn't matter. There was always this set answers and set questions, answers that had to come to only his terms. It didn't matter how much I complied with him, how much I agreed with him, how much effort I had put into his agenda, how much I get along with him, did my best on all sorts of things. It didn't matter whatsoever. Same thing. Cynical people forces their agenda, and he's pessimistic. So this, and one day he even told me like, "Hey, I don't wear these clothes. I wanted to take this." I said, "Sure." I just said yes. But let's see. Like you're not wearing. Maybe I can just donate to a place at least if I don't wear it. So I took it. I didn't ask for it, but he later said, "I even gave you clothes. You're still ignoring me. You're like disrespecting me." That is his same repertoire repeatedly He's always the victim. He creates anything. He picks up anything that are not true, but twisted it, cynically creating these false stories as he is a victim. He is victimizing himself out of anything and everything, in which inappropriately spreading all of this rumors out of a person's actual personal struggle and personal crisis that was going through on his own, which is the suicidal that I was actually experiencing, that I shared just intimately once, that he took that as his advantage. It's some very psychopathic behavior that he pretends to be this I'm just this sweet person. I don't want to do this to you. I don't want to see you self-sabotage yourself. Blah blah blah, and behaving this way in front of everyone. And in fact, as I submit all of these video footages, which that one video footage that he was acting aggressively is only a tip of the iceberg. All the other moment that I experienced from him was way more aggressive, serious aggressiveness that you can really think of. That one footage that I got, it's just that I got lucky. He is extreme. He's a maniac. So that is why I'm here standing at the court, because it's beyond the parameter of even the concept of revenge. It became something that right thing for me to do at this point, because it was completely nonsensical. I'm so thankful and glad that I've said nothing throughout all of these times, demanded none, let him just do his thing, and let him believe whatever he believes, let him just say whatever he want to say, let him break down my will, whatever that he can do, whatever he want to say, so that I keep my integrity and my purity and my truth on my own, because this is something that he cannot take away from, and this is perhaps he cannot stand, because he's so envious of this truth that he was so eager to break down, so eager to change his karma by trying to get reaction from me. Because if I reacted upon all of his behaviors, his lies becomes true, and now he can really say that, look, this person is behaving maniac, in which that is himself, Brandon Carl Arnold. That is my testament and the truth that I'm speaking in this moment of time. Additionally, if I was in the homeless shelter, I at least had a place to do laundry.